So to do the side with charcoal, go ahead and take your blending stump and use it on an angle and clean it off on clean off paper before you get started. Okay. So just make sure you kind of scribble it around. Remember, when you clean this off, you want to make sure that you get most of the powder, either graphite or charcoal, off onto here. It should get gradually less light as you kind of rub it on the paper. Okay, so this is set and ready to use. I'm going to move this to the side. And then we're going to go ahead and use the charcoal sticks. Now, as we know, pulling down this little tab here and trying to peel it doesn't really work very well. I think these are just super old or not well made. So feel free to sharpen this using the hand sharpener on your table just to get a little bit of this tip exposed. Okay, you don't need a lot. You don't need a whole lot of charcoal, just a little bit goes a long way. All right, now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I am going to start to do my different pressures but keep it very light. Okay, so I'm going to basically use this type of method, right? Hard, medium, and light pressure, but just essentially towards the outside of the face. Okay, so I am going to just do a little bit of that. Now, a little bit of charcoal goes a long way. Okay, so I'm going to do hard, medium, and light. Okay, I'm going to do it sort of all around the exterior of the face. Okay, now you'll notice I'm just confining it to certain areas, right? Okay, so I'm pressing harder toward the edge of the face, and then as I bring it in ever so slightly, I am just kind of letting up on my pressure. So hard pressure here, medium, light. Because remember, a little bit of this charcoal goes a long way. Okay, underneath the chin. Okay. You can also do it in this hair area, closest to the head. Basically anywhere where something might need a shadow. Okay, I am also going to do this on either side of the nose here, just a smidge, keeping it really super light. This is very important that you keep it light right here. And then I'm also going to add a smidgen of it sort of around the eyes, and again I'm going to try and keep that light as well. So I'm like barely pressing with this charcoal, y'all, and it's just like, it's already looking a little bit dark in some areas. Okay. All right. So this is kind of my my base shading for this, and I'll address like the hair a little bit later. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my blending stump, and remember, I want to use it sort of more on an angle here. So I want to use the side. The tip is only for really small places and spaces. I'm going to set my powder for my charcoal lightest to darkest, okay? So I'm going to use this on its side and move it lightest to darkest, like so. Okay, and right now I have dark on my tips, so I'm going to clean it off on the side on my clean off paper, okay? And I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, so lightest to darkest. Okay, when I feel like I have too much on my tip, I'm gonna go ahead and clean it off. Okay. Okay, lightest to darkest. So see how this is sort of starting to spookify my creature here, my portrait. Okay, I have a lot on my tip here. I'm going to go ahead and clean it off. Okay, if I want, I can even bring in the cheekbones a little bit, kind of like this. on either side to make it extra spooky. Ooh, that looks cool. All right, now this is where life becomes a little bit tricky. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, not thinking. Gotta set the powder lightest to darkest, okay? So I'm gonna try and get in here with the tip of my, my blending stump here. Okay, I'm gonna try and do this lightest to darkest. So I'm using this on the tip because this is a small place in space. Okay, so anytime you're trying to get into a small place in space, it's okay to use the tip of the blending stump. That's more than fine. Okay. Really quickly, I'm gonna set the powder for the neck. Okay, so again, I'm gonna use this on an angle, so lightest to darkest. Should be darkest underneath the chin, either side of the neck. Okay, lightest to darkest in here. I would actually go back in and intensify that. I think that looks pretty cool. In here, you can actually just use some of the some of the charcoal powder for the hair. Any of these lines represent where these items come together. Okay. So something like that. Can add a little shading in the hair. Okay. Which I definitely don't have time for right now. Okay. I think you might get the gist of it. That looks cool. Right now I'm just using the powder off my blending stump. It's pretty cool. So that can give you a lighter value, okay? But see how I kept parts of the face really light? I could totally blend these eyes. Oops, hello. Add a little bit of just graphite powder in the eye. I would blend this with white if I had time, which I don't. Okay, but make sure you keep the main highlights of the face light. So think forehead, cheekbones, okay? Not cheekbones, the highlights of the cheek, highlight in the nose, okay? And then also center of the neck.